They say that in life, every change in season is a new opportunity. For these two quarterbacks, that has taken on a whole new meaning.
This is the first time in NFL history we've had two game day starting quarterbacks that started for the previous team going head-to-head against each other. And for Aaron Rodgers, you have to think that it means a little bit more.
They weren't the only guys who were looking to make an impact in their new home.
Some splash moves, the signing of Darius Slay, the trade for Jalen Ramsey.
This starts the season, this starts the journey, and of course, we get to see him along with DK Metcalf and Jonnu Smith and some other guys.
Pass is caught, and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit and sacked. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. Aaron Rodgers didn't arrive in Pittsburgh until early June. And despite seeing and hearing good things throughout training camp and the preseason, Steelers fans had to wait till last Sunday to see him play in an actual game. His black and gold debut included 4 touchdowns in a win against his former team. For more on Week 1, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's standing by with Coach Tomlin. Bob.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Week 1 in the books, 34-32, Steelers win in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And Coach, just talk about that game. A lot of people thought this would be one of those low-scoring, kind of right out the gate. Defense is ahead of the offense. It was anything but that.
No, it definitely had a texture to it that was different than what you mentioned. But I think that happens a lot Week 1, and games don't always go according to script. There were some games last weekend that were really tight and low scoring. I was looking at the San Francisco-Seattle game. That was a rough and tumble back and forth defensive battle. I looked at the Baltimore game in Buffalo, and that was anything but. And so I think you'll see some of that the first weeks of the season. I think it'll all smooth out as there's more video evidence about what everyone is and how everyone's dividing the labor up and what everyone's about. But it'll be a couple more weeks of some probably eyebrow-raising scores and surprises.
First possession you guys had offensively, right off the bat you scored a touchdown and made it look relatively easy. A couple of third down conversions. Metcalf had one, Freiermuth had one, and then the big play by Ben Skoranek. That couldn't have gone any better, that first possession, I would imagine. It
was exactly what you mentioned. You don't get a chance to do those things unless you're converting possession downs, and can't say enough about that short catch and run by DK. That's what ball is about. That's what the acquisition of a guy like DK is about. We got pressure. We dumped the ball to him very quickly, short of the first down. He made a would-be tackler miss and went down the sideline for roughly 25 yards. And so absorbing very little risk, getting the ball into the hands of a playmaker and letting him do the rest, and that's what it's about.
So Aaron Rodgers with the 4 touchdown passes, he took some hits along the way too, and I'm sure that's something you guys want to clean up. But you've been talking about the fact that he has that acumen, that ability to just take over games the way he sees it. That was certainly confirmation on Sunday.
Yeah, I spoke with great confidence leading up to the game, and because I'd been with him every day and have seen the team development process, and I don't think that anybody that was a component of our group that's been working with him daily was surprised by what we saw on Sunday.
Let's talk about some of the things you need to clean up. The offensive line, the run game specifically. I guess it's a lot easier to do it when you win a game, but you still have that to deal with. What was your assessment about their play overall?
We certainly could be better in that area, but at the same time, we didn't have enough opportunities. Some of it was by choice. Our play selection there early on, we wanted to get Aaron going, and we knew there were some things there that we could take advantage of. And secondarily, we didn't possess the ball enough. I think we had 25 minutes time of possession. When you're controlling the ball the way that the Jets offense was, you're not going to have a bunch of snaps, and I think that was reflected in the run game tally as well.
You're always looking for game-changing moments, and you got one with Kenneth Gainwell. You just scored 9 plays, 68 yards, I think, and then immediately get it back, and then 2 plays later score. That whole sequence, without it, you may not win the game.
It's about complementary football. It has to happen in some form or fashion. It certainly did there. Kenny's a football player first and a running back second. He does a lot of things for us. That was one of the things that we coveted about him in free agency. I think he had 6 or 7 tackles on kickoff for the Eagles in 2024, for example. And so, that was a known capability of his, and man, it certainly was timely.
Defensively, you had an injury, too, that stood out because Deshaun Elliott has been very good here. What's his status, and also what do you plan to do to make up for his absence?
He's probably going to have a short-term absence. He sustained a knee sprain and certainly wasn't able to finish the game, and that impacted us in a lot of ways because, as you mentioned, he's been a valuable component of our defense and specifically our run structure defense.
All right, Jabril Peppers brought in. Expectations for him in week 1 for him?
It's about learning what to do first and foremost. He certainly is an experienced player and one that we're familiar with, former Cleveland Brown. But he has to learn what to do, learn to communicate. We got to be cautious about the communication component, particularly at the early stages of the season. We've acknowledged we've got a lot of new players back there, new to us. Jalen, obviously, Juan is new to us. And so it's not exclusively about Pep. He has to learn what to do. He has to be a good communicator. And we got to look at the totality of our ability to communicate with the number of new people that we have.
Your defense had some issues, but at the end of the game when it needed to, they stepped up, specifically Ramsey, and we watched him move all over the field. I mean, that's a tough assignment, I think, for anyone, although he's been good enough in his career he can do it all, and we saw it all on Sunday. Was that the plan for him?
I had, a similar level of confidence about his abilities as I did Aaron's because, again, I've seen him do everything that he did in stadium and team development. I mean, this guy hadn't skipped a beat. He plays safety. He plays nickel inside. He plays outside corner. He did all of the above for a variety of reasons on Sunday. Some by design because we just want to have the ability to move him around and have him impact the game in that way. Some of it by necessity. When Joey Porter wasn't able to finish the game, we let him finish the game exclusively outside. He is a football lover. He is really talented. He embraces the mental challenges of the game. He wants to be given a lot to do, and certainly we felt his presence on Sunday.
Steelers win 34-32, but they're coming home. It's a home opener against Seattle. When we come back, Missy, we'll talk about the Seahawks. They were at home last week and lost to San Francisco, but as Coach said, it was a defensive battle. We'll get into the Seahawks when we come back. Missy, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. And it is always exciting to see that first home crowd. It also doesn't hurt that the Steelers are 17-7 at Acrisure Stadium in home openers. Congratulations to Chris Boswell, who was named the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Boz hit this 60-yard field goal to give Pittsburgh the lead with less than 2 minutes in the Jets game. It marked a new career best for him, and Boz now has 5 Player of the Week awards, the most for a special teams player in franchise history. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Last week it was Aaron Rodgers' old team, and this week it's DK Metcalf's. The QB wide receiver duo didn't connect in the end zone last week, but on Sunday they'll have a chance, along with many other new Steelers, to experience a home crowd in Pittsburgh. For more on their opponent, the Seattle Seahawks, let's send it back to Bob and Coach. Guys.
Thanks, Missy. We appreciate that. And now it's time to talk about Seattle. They come in here and they have to make that trip from west to east. And, Coach, it's a team that has a new head coach in Mike McDonald's second year. But he obviously is somebody you know about because he's been in the Ravens system for a long time. Is that something that can help you in preparation for this team?
It certainly can. But at the same time, it helps him as well. He's able to, get to second base rather quickly, if you will, about making some judgments about us because of his experience. But certainly we see some parallels between a lot of the things he's doing, particularly on defense in Seattle. Is very similar to some of the things that he did on defense in Baltimore. They've made some changes. They brought in Sam Darnold. From your point of view, watching him, he's been to a lot of stops. Last year, he seemed to have a lot of success with Minnesota, and it seemed to bring out the best in him. What do you see from him, and is he one of those guys who can beat you both ways? Because he does have the ability to move out of the pocket. He certainly does have escapability, but I think, the most distinguishing component of his game and dealing with him is he's just simply battle-tested. He's been in a lot of circumstances. He's moved around in this game. He's had a variety of coordinators, been in various systems of offense, and through it all, he's found ways to continually improve. He's a quick and fluid decision maker. He takes care of the football, and I think those are the things that really, give your offense a chance to be productive and your team a chance to win. He certainly displayed that in Minnesota a year ago.
They also brought in Cooper Kupp. He wasn't used all that much last week, but Jackson Smith-Njigba was. He was targeted quite a bit. Talk about their wideouts and the problems they may face.
Those two guys are both really good football players, have a feel for the game, capable of finding spaces in zone, patient and talented enough to route people and lose people at the top of breakpoints in man. As you mentioned, Smith-Njigba was a central figure from a target perspective in the last game, but it doesn't mean that we need to slight Cooper Kupp. We've been in stadiums with him before. We realize how he's capable of impacting the game. You go out and get a guy like Cooper Kupp for the high floor. You know what you're going to get week in and week out from him. And so he'll be ready to deliver a steady, productive performance for him. We better not focus too much on the others, and we better recognize what he's capable of, particularly in situational moments. He's always been a possession down, chain mover, and very good in the red area.
All right, let's talk about their backfield because they used two guys. Kenneth Walker probably being the guy they're going to use more, although last week it wasn't that way. But the offensive line is capable of moving. What concerns do you have with your specific offensive line, defensive line, with regard to this team? Because it's the same kind of team. They want to beat you in the trenches if they can.
They have a new play caller and a new offensive line coach. Rick Dennison has been around a long time, their offensive line coach. He's worked with a Kubiak for a long time. Before he worked with the Kubiak that he works for now, he worked with his dad. And so certainly they have a system of ball that, although they're new to Seattle, they worked together in 2024 in New Orleans. I think they worked in Minnesota together in 2021 or so when we played them. And so they have a mode of operation, one that we're familiar with. It doesn't make it any easier to stop. They're very good in zone scheme blocking. They have the offensive alignment to do it individually and collectively. Their lateral movement and their ability to block multiple fronts has been on display. As you mentioned, they got two really good, capable running backs, and so we're in for a big week in that area.
Defensively, they, again, are stout up front. They got guys who have been former number one picks, guys who have veteran experience like DeMarcus Lawrence. Your offensive line will be tested in that department, too. We watched last week, it was a defensive game, and their defensive line did a very good job, I thought, against San Francisco early in that game.
Yeah, Leonard Williams. I think that the acquisition of Leonard Williams at the trade deadline maybe a year and a half ago was a big component of putting what is now this collective together, because certainly he is a catalyst for them inside and up front. They play him in a lot of places, particularly in passing circumstances. He can rush your center. They can isolate him on the guard through a variety of front structures, or they can even put him on the edge one-on-one on tackles. Certainly the acquisition of Lawrence is an assist in that area, but he is the straw that stirs the drink, and we better do a really good job of working to minimize that group. They got a young first-rounder from Texas that's also Byron, that's also been a big contributor as well.
Yeah, Byron Murphy's a guy who adds to that front.
Yep.
Defensively, they got some guys back there. They have guys who've been there, done that. How good are they, and how is your method of strategy trying to attack that secondary?
The secondary is not only, in my opinion, the strength of their defense. I think it's their strongest positional group on their team. Kobe Bryant, highly instinctual, good range guy with really good ball skills, former college corner. And at the cornerback position, man, Willem at the other corner, inside and outside. I can't say enough about his well-rounded skill set. Is a big line of scrimmage bump guy with some really special ball skills for a defensive back. I think his first 2 years at UTSA were spent as a wide receiver, and that speaks to his ability to catch the football, and his interception total over the course of his career really verifies that.
Should be a good matchup, and it's the home opener coming up on Sunday. Steelers hosting Seattle. When we come back, Missy, it's time for the keys to this game. We'll see you then.
All right, Bob, thanks. I'm also looking forward to that. And I'm curious if the offense or defense will be announced during team intros. Coming up next, Merrill Hodge dials up a Week 2 playbook to get you ready for Steelers and Seahawks. The 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show will return right after this break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Show off your black and gold knowledge with Immaculate Prediction, the Steelers predictive game that allows you to compete against all of Steelers Nation. Make picks each week for your chance to win great prizes like a trip to the 2026 home opener. This week's first place prize is a Chris Boswell autographed football. And here's one of the Week 2 questions. Will DK Metcalf have over or under 65.5 receiving yards against his old team? This game is exclusively in the Steelers mobile app, so head there now and good luck. Well, Coach Tomlin made it clear he wants to see the Steelers' run game get going on Sunday. And the Seattle Seahawks are probably thinking the same thing, although they did have a running back find the end zone in Week 1. For more on what Pittsburgh's defense needs to do to stop that, here's Merrill Hodge with this week's Playbook.
Hi everyone, welcome to the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. It's Week 2. The Seattle Seahawks are coming into town. Remember, Week 1 we talked about there's going to be a theme this year. Well, it exists. You know, you got to control the tempo. You got to win the turnover battle. And Seattle is no different. Last year, they were their very best when they ran the football. And there's no doubt that they are committed to that. They will stay to that. And they are very traditional. The way they run the football, it is no secrets. They come at you, but they do it so well, it is hard to defend them. So this is a preseason game, but it just shows you how efficient they are. This is as pure a formation as there is in football, the I formation. You got the tight end to the right, I formation, quarterback under center. You don't see this a lot, but this is how they will play. When you look at the blocking scheme and how they're going to block it, you know, they're going to double to the left. Tackle works out, guard works up, center will work with him to the stack backer. The fullback is going to work to the play side linebacker. And then they have individual blocks on the backside. I'm going to stop it at the end because we want to watch the tight end and the wrinkle that he does. And this is very hard to do, but they do it great. So let's snap the ball. And when they snap the ball, everybody executes their blocks to almost perfection. I mean, everybody is accounted for, and they're smashing everybody down. Remember I mentioned the tight end? Look how he peels off. That backside linebacker that's flowing makes this tackle here if that tight end doesn't peel. And very seldom do you see a tight end that can do this, where he helps with the down block, but then he peels back. Well, once he does that, Charbonnet, who is actually the backup, but he has had 100-yard rushing games last year, is a very good runner, and you're going to see him a lot in the game. I mean, he hits this gap, and it's over. Chunks of yards like that, you let them do this to you, you lose the game because they control the tempo. Well, I talked about how they're very traditional. Here's a 3 tight end formation. This cannot be probably a better example of how you win individual blocks and how you win in the blocking game from every perspective. As we snap the ball, every individual block that has to be accounted for is accounted for. The runner does a good job here of getting to the backside because the defense has flown so hard play side that they haven't done a very good job on the backside. And the backside block is executed perfectly. And your running back hits his head on the goalpost. The Seattle Seahawks are a dangerous football team if you let them run the football, because they have a quarterback that is good in the passing game and he can sting you. If they control that aspect of the game, it'll be a hard afternoon. So winning that battle will be critical for the Steelers to win on Week 2.
And make sure you head to the Steelers official YouTube page to check out some more exclusive content. Well, home is where the heart is, and for Steelers Nation, there's no place like Acrisure Stadium. Under Coach Tomlin, Pittsburgh is 12-6 in home openers. So it's time now for the keys to the game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Let's send it over one final time to Bob and Coach. Guys.
All right, Missy, thanks. One of the keys, I would imagine, is being at home. It's your home opener, and, you know, Steeler Nation loves to show up for this. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement. How much can you pull from that excitement as far as your team is concerned?
You know, there's a lot that you can pull from it, and certainly it's going to create a hostile environment for Sam Darnold and company, but it also creates some challenges for us from a defensive perspective in terms of communicating. And so we pay respect to that with how we prep during the week. We use crowd noise in our defensive segments to get ready for it, because we certainly wouldn't want the crowd to be quiet. We'll deal with it. Sam Darnold and company has to deal with it as well. But certainly it's an awesome opportunity to have our home opener, to participate and play in front of our fans, and really excited about it.
Another key, and we didn't really get too far into it, but we should, because special teams, there's always three phases to this game. You guys have benefited from that last week. In this game, it could come down to that as well. And special teams was a check mark for you guys in Boswell. What is it about kickers today that seem to, the length of these field goals keeps getting bigger and bigger?
You know, I just think in general it's the evolution of the athlete. 25 years ago or so when I came into the league, it wasn't many wideouts that looked like DK Metcalf, And I just think that's how it goes. A 300-pound lineman used to be a big guy. A 300-pound lineman is an undersized guy today. And I think the leg strength component of it is just another example of the evolution of the athlete.
Was there any concern about 60 yards with him? Because you could have gone for another play potentially last week.
No concerns whatsoever. I watch Boz every day. I understand not only his capabilities, but his desire and his competitive spirit. Not only is he capable of making kicks like that consistently, he wants to. And that's why we're all excited he's on our team.
Yeah, 60 yards could have been good from 70. I'm sure he'll be bugging you from 70 yards next time.
No question.
All right. Coach, thanks very much and all the best. It's the Seahawks coming to Pittsburgh this Sunday, and that's a big game. Home opener. Steelers trying to get to 2-0. And that's going to do it for our program today. Thanks for joining us. For head coach Mike Tomlin and Missy Matthews, I'm Bob Pompeani. We'll see you next week for another edition of the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.